Hey friends, it's Mary Giordano, and welcome to Unapologetically Wild. Every single day, you have a choice. You can stay where you are, or you can step into the possibility of something even greater. And I'm here to spark that flame within you and inspire you to show up, embrace the fear, and do the fucking thing. Messy, scared, and real. Let's get started. Hey friends, welcome back to Unapologetically Wild. I am so pumped for today's episode because a couple of weeks ago, I polled my audience on Instagram asking them what they wanted me to dive into on the podcast. And the number one response, which I can't say that I'm too surprised, it was fear, specifically kicking fear's ass, crushing fear, or getting rid of fear. By the way, if you're not already hanging with me on Instagram, come on over and join me. You can find me at Live Unapologetically Wild. So yeah, fear was the number one response. And like I said, I'm really not that surprised because I've been a coach for over 4 years, and I can tell you this comes up constantly. I hear it all the time. People using the excuse that they're afraid. They say, I'm afraid to fail. I'm afraid of what others might think. I'm afraid of change. I'm afraid of taking that leap. But the more I thought about it, the more I looked at my own life, the more I started wondering, is fear actually the thing that's keeping people playing small? Or is it something a bit deeper? Because fear, it's a damn good excuse. And as a society, we are absolutely bombarded with messages about fear. There are thousands of books out there dissecting fear. There are podcasts breaking down how to overcome fear, how to push through fear, how to crush fear. And there are tons of motivational speakers talking about all the ways to become fearless. And that one actually makes me laugh because you're never going to be fearless. That's not the goal. It's not even realistic. So just get that out of your head right now before we even get started. But you're afraid, and I get that. This thing that you want, this next level of your life, feels scary as hell. But here's what I want you to consider. You've taken risks before, big ones, small ones. You've made decisions that have absolutely changed everything. You jumped when you had to, or maybe you haven't. Maybe you're someone who, for the first time in your life, you're finally considering doing something different. And the idea of change, it feels absolutely impossible. But either way, the real question you want to ask yourself is not, why is this so scary? Or why am I so full of fear? The real question is, what are you telling yourself that's making it feel absolutely fucking terrifying? Because the stories we tell ourselves shape everything. They shape our choices, our actions, and what we believe is possible for us. And I was reminded of this when I read a line recently in Mind Magic by James Doty. I know I've mentioned this book several times in previous episodes. It's one of my favorite books right now. It said, if we do not believe we are capable of or worthy of having something, it is very painful to go on wanting it. And that hit hard because what if the real reason you're not taking that next step isn't fear at all? All this time you've been walking around feeling frightened, feeling terrified, feeling scared of taking the leap. But what if deep down, it's because you don't actually believe that you can have it, that you're capable of it or worthy of it, or that it's even possible for you? And if it's true that wanting something you don't believe is possible is painful, then what happens to us when something feels painful? Your brain does exactly what it does best. It protects you. It convinces you not to want it. It creates excuses. It blames fear. It reinforces that story that I can't or I'm not ready. And that's where we get stuck playing small because we've been taught that fear is the enemy, that the goal is to get rid of it, to overcome it, to kick its ass. But what if the problem isn't just fear? What if the problem is that you've spent years reinforcing this belief, whatever this next level is, it isn't for you, that you're not the type of person that does this. You're not capable of making this happen. And while many of us love pointing to fear as the reason why we don't take action, let's just take a moment to actually break some of the most common fears down. Number one, fear of failure. First of all, who on earth even decided what failure means? There are so many different theories around failure. And isn't failure just a story we tell ourselves? Why does it get such a bad rap? Because we were taught in grade school that getting an F is bad? We grew up believing that, and that's what sticks with us. What about fear of judgment? Judgment, it's outside of you. You cannot control what people think. You can't control how people perceive you, and people are going to judge you whether you take action or not. But here's the thing. The people who are judging you, they're also the ones sitting on the sidelines of life. No successful person who is where you want to be is spending their time judging you because they're too laser focused on spending their time leveling up their own life. And another common fear is fear of success. So are you actually afraid of success, or is it the responsibility that comes with being successful? Are you scared of actually becoming that version of yourself, or are you afraid you'll no longer have the excuses of why you can't do the thing? And after all of this, the only things we actually have control over are our thoughts, our choices, and our responses. And that's where the real work is, because if fear were really the only issue here, you wouldn't have done half the scary shit you've already done in your life. But you have. So why does this thing, this next step, feel so impossible for you? Why is it that you've done hard things before? You've taken risks, you've made moves, but this dream, this leveling up, this thing you keep thinking about, why does it feel so different? Stay with me because that's exactly what we're about to dive into. By the end of this episode, you're going to understand exactly what's been holding you back and how to rewrite that story that's been keeping you playing small. Let's get into it. You know what's wild? Most of us spend our entire lives protecting the version of ourselves we already are, not expanding, not growing, not stepping into the person we actually want to be, but protecting the small, familiar identity we've spent years reinforcing. And we don't even realize we're doing it. A few weeks ago, when I asked what people wanted to hear about on this podcast, I got a handful of responses saying, kicking fear's ass, crushing fear. So I followed up with one of the individuals who participated in the poll, and I asked them, what does that actually mean to you? What exactly are you afraid of? And her answer, it was something I've heard from so many people. She told me, quote, I have a horrible work-life balance. I work 55 hours a week, 6 days a week. The money is good. The job is stable. My bosses are great. But in my heart, I know it's time to move on. And I'm terrified. At first glance, it seems like fear is what's keeping her stuck. But as I kept reading, it became clear it wasn't just fear. It was the identity she had built around her job. Then she said something that hit me like a ton of bricks. She said, so I stay in my little cocoon of familiarity because fear holds me hostage. She doesn't want to keep spending her life stuck in a job that owns her. She said that her and her husband finally started traveling last year, and for the first time, she was able to see what was possible. And now she wants something different, but she's terrified. She said, what if I can't find another job at my age? What if we go broke? What if we screw up our retirement? What if I regret it? So she stays. She keeps doing what she's always done, even though she knows it's not what she wants anymore. And leveling up or taking a leap isn't just about leaving a stable career. Maybe for you, it's about starting something new, something you've been thinking about for a really long time, or it's about finally putting yourself out there in a way that you've never done before, or making the move you've been talking about for years, because we all know how easy it is to talk about things. The hard part is taking the fucking action. So whatever it is, the doubts are the same, because what keeps most people playing small isn't just fear. It's the story they've been telling themselves about who they are and what's possible for them. So I asked her, what would you regret more, staying in this job for another 5, 10 plus years, or taking the leap and actually experiencing life? And without hesitation, she said, no brainer. I'd regret not taking the leap. I want to actually live. That moment, it was huge because deep down, she already knew what she wanted. She already knew staying would be the bigger regret. But knowing, that doesn't erase the fear. Right now, she knows her job. She does it 55 hours a week, probably on autopilot. But leaving, taking the leap, she's wondering, where do I even start? What if it doesn't work out? The unknown, it's scary. but it's not what's actually keeping her where she is, because fear is always part of the equation. What really holds people back is the identity they've wrapped themselves in, with the stories and the narratives that are on repeat day in and day out every single day of their lives. She and her husband identify as workaholics, and your identity is what actually makes change so damn hard, because we're taught that success equals security, that we should work hard now so we can enjoy life later, that breaking away from a stable job is reckless. But again, most of us don't fear change. We fear what it will mean about who we are. We don't just fear failure. We identify as someone who doesn't take big risks. We don't just fear judgment. We believe we have to meet other people's expectations. We don't just fear the unknown. We assume we won't know what to do when we get there. And that's why this thing you want, it feels fucking impossible. Because it's not just about taking the leap. It's about letting go of the identity that's been keeping you comfortable, that's been keeping you safe. And that right there is what makes it so damn scary, because to step into what's next, you have to be willing to let go of who you've always been. Because even if you don't want to be that person anymore, the one who plays it safe, the one who clings to what's familiar, the one who trades freedom for certainty, stepping into the unknown means stepping into a version of yourself you haven't met yet. And the thought of that scares the hell out of you. So how do you shift from hesitation to action? How do you stop seeing yourself as someone who second guesses and start seeing yourself as someone who moves? If you're listening right now thinking, holy shit, this is me, then keep going, because that's exactly what we're diving into next. I'm about to give you 3 steps on how to rewrite your identity and finally step into it. And if you can grab a piece of paper and a pen, do it. If you're on a walk or you're driving, make sure you save this for later and come back to it to take notes. Number 1, catch the story in real time. Most people don't realize how often they reinforce the identity that's keeping them small. Every single time you say, I can't because, I'm not the type of person who, I wish I could, but, that's the version of you that has been conditioned to play it safe. The version that believes you need certainty before you act. But here's the truth. Certainty is an illusion. No one in the history of the world who has ever made a major life change knew exactly how it would turn out. So what's your action step? You're going to start tracking the stories you tell yourself. Keep a note in your phone. Every single time you catch yourself saying something like this, write it down. At the end of the week, challenge what you wrote down, what you said throughout the week. Ask yourself, is this actually true? Or is this just a story I've been telling myself for years? You might be surprised at what you uncover. Number 2, challenge the version of yourself you've been protecting. Because here's the thing, most of the beliefs you hold about yourself, they aren't even yours. They came from parents who wanted you to play it safe, or teachers who rewarded you for following the rules, or a past experience that made you doubt your own abilities. Your identity, it's not fixed. It's a choice. So start questioning it. You can do this by asking, who told me I couldn't? Where did I learn that I'm the kind of person who hesitates instead of making moves? What would I do if I believed the opposite were true? Your action step, flip the script. The next time you hear yourself saying something to the tune of, I'm just not the kind of person who does XYZ. Even if it feels weird at first, I want you to say, I'm becoming the kind of person who takes action before they feel ready. Or, I'm the kind of person who figures things out. Or, I'm the kind of person who prioritizes my future over my fear. Because again, your identity is fluid and you get to decide who you are. Third, I want you to act before you feel ready. Your brain will always come up with another excuse to stay comfortable. But the fastest way to rewrite your identity, start making decisions from the version of yourself who has already done the fucking thing. How are you going to do this? the next time you're faced with a decision, big or small, ask yourself, what would the version of me who already did it choose? What would the version of me who believed it was possible do? What would the version of me who was already living that life decide right now? And then do that. And I know your brain is screaming, but what if I fail? What if it doesn't work out? And here's my answer to that. You've failed before. You've survived every single time. And every single time you've figured it out. And you grew and you learned. And in the end, you were grateful for the experience. So what if instead of waiting for fear to go away, you just decided that fear doesn't get to be the thing that makes your decisions anymore? Fear can sit in the car with you. It's always going to be around. It will always exist. It's how we're wired, but it is no longer driving your goddamn car. It is sitting in the freaking passenger seat. You, my friend, are the driver of your life moving forward. Remember that. And that is how you shift everything. You can keep waiting for the right moment, or you can decide right now that you're done waiting, that you're done sitting in the same cycle of overthinking, hesitating, and talking yourself out of what you actually want, because you already know what to do. The question is, are you willing to finally do it? Because the people who actually change their lives, they don't wait for the fear to go away. They change their story and they step into it. So to wrap things up today, here's what no one is telling you. It's not fear that's stopping you. It's not lack of motivation. It's not even the unknown. It's the fact that you're still making decisions from the version of you who plays small. You're still thinking, reacting, and hesitating like the old you. And as long as you keep living from this version of yourself, you'll keep experiencing this version in your life. That's the real cycle. If you want something different, you have to become someone different. And that starts with getting clear on who that person is. The version of you who doesn't second guess, the version of you who moves before they feel ready, the version of you who doesn't let some old story or society decide what's possible. So let's frickin' go. Make one decision today from the version of you who already has what you want. Say yes to something you've been hesitating on. Do the thing before you feel ready. Choose discomfort over regret, because the only way to change your life is to stop letting an outdated version of yourself call the shots. No more waiting, no more overthinking, no more playing small. You already know what you have to do. Now go fucking do it. Thanks for tuning in today. If this episode hit home, subscribe and share it with a friend, because together we can bring more women into this wild, unapologetic space. Remember, waiting until you feel ready is the fastest way to nowhere. So show up, embrace the fear, and do the fucking thing. And don't forget to subscribe to my Unapologetically Wild Chronicles. The link's in the show notes. Until next time, stay wild.